Whenever you're ready, you may begin.
The gold rush was a period of time where gold was being found in California, and thousands of people were hearing about this and coming over to California to get gold. People were getting gold fever trying to get there and everything. And when they got there, everybody was paying for gold and getting stuff. And some people were like, oh my God, he's getting gold, I want some. And they started fighting over it. And they started fighting each other. And I wanted to tell you that most of those deaths that happened during the gold rush, or a lot of them, were suicides. And yeah, suicides. And 1,800 people killed themselves, not because of the gold rush. And some people went into the middle of the lake to pant for gold, and they got this disease that you get when you stand in water for a very long time, and your legs pretty much become frozen and you get washed away. And that was their choice. They felt their legs were getting weak, they should have had gone out, and they didn't. They killed themselves. And I looked up, and it was more than 500 people died of that. And so, thank you so much.
We can give a round of applause for Ashton. Thank you, Ashton. Mackenzie, whenever you're ready.
Okay. On March 15, 1848, gold was found by James Marshall at Sutter's Mill in Cologne. Then gold fever happened in 1849. The types of settlers that came to the gold rush were the settlers that were from the east. People thought that the gold rush was a good thing, but it was not. A lot of Native Americans died. 120,000 of them got killed and died. People broke laws, like they put up signs saying, if you do this, you will get hanged. And they weren't even police officers. And it happened because there weren't that many police officers, and that was bad because if there weren't that many police officers, more people could get away with breaking laws. And people took drugs. One of the drugs that people took was opium. Opium was a Chinese drug, and it was not good for you. You could act crazy if you took it, and you could just be out of your mind. And then there were fires, earthquakes, and floods. And in all of those, you can die. Like, you could get hurt with an earthquake if something falls on you, or fires you could get caught in, and floods you can just get washed away. And the gold rush was a bad thing. It was not good, because too many people died from it. Thank you. Well, what Mackenzie said, it wasn't the gold rush's fault that people took drugs and that there weren't a lot of police officers. So I don't see how that was the gold rush's fault. So it wasn't their fault that they decided to kill themselves and all that. So everyone knows who James Marshall is. And James Marshall was the first person who found a piece of gold in 1848. Because he found gold. Their gold rush started in 1849, and everyone who came were called the 49ers. And the state nickname was called the Golden State, and the flower, the California flower, was called the Golden Poppy. After we became the 31st state, a lot of slavery had ended. A lot of people died rushing to California. A lot of people died coming to California, and a lot of people did not like that. So they decided to make transportation start. So the first railroad that they built was led to disaster. For example, shipwrecks, house fires, floods, etc. There was 4,200 murders during the gold rush. People would murder people just so they could get gold. For example, what Ethan said, a lot of people murdered some people just to say, you have that gold, I want it, I couldn't bear it, so they would murder each other's people. And that was 4,200. There was 33 shipwrecks and 4 huge fires.
First of all, I want to say, with fires, earthquakes, things like that, we can't control them. Like, yeah, of course, if someone was smoking with a lighter and they threw it in the woods, that could have happened, but I haven't read anything of that kind of case. Regular fires just happen, lightning, storms, earthquake happens, it's just a natural cause. But there is some things, it's called disasters of the earth. Disasters of the earth. People did take down hills, boulders, but they did that to find gold. But if there was a big rock where the Capitol building today, or where our camp was, maybe that camp wouldn't even exist. Maybe we wouldn't be doing this right now, because there wouldn't be that camp right there. Another thing that I wanted to talk about was recycling. Recycling started with the gold rush. People needed wood to be able to survive. So what they did was they pulled old ships out of the bay, and they reused the wood to make cabins, supplies, make their fire. They used all different sorts of things to use this wood, and that is how the recycling had started. Another thing that happened was with the buildings and the gold and everyone getting so excited about what was going on, the populations grew from 5,530 to 15,309 in only 20 years. In the beginning, with 575 males and 177 females and 60 kids in the beginning, populations grew massively. And restating the drugs. People still do drugs today. You can't stop it. People chose to do that back then. That has nothing to do with the gold rush. People, if the gold rush didn't happen, this drug could have been discovered, and people would start smoking. That should have not been blamed on the gold rush.